Hello, this is the June 21st edition of the devlog. Get ready. This week was working on just designing these two first baddies that um, Ryan will come across. And the first one is just like a normal baddie. He just kind of goes left and right, and that's it. And the second one is a jumping baddie. He just kind of leaps every so often, and that's it. So we're working on. I'm basically just doodling, just coming up with like little ideas and trying to get more comfortable with doing something maybe a little bit more silly and less hyper believable, I suppose. And I kind of landed on this idea of using spikes as a way to communicate as like this is how this hurts you. But the guy there on the left, he's a little bit more of the abstract sort of symbol of a spike, like a triangle. And then so I start like, what would more natural maybe spikes look like? They're just sort of not very uniform, and I really like the spikes of the guy on the right. And then I start playing with like different sizes and realize like, oh yeah, like gotta have these little tiny ones, just to kind of add a little variety to the mix. I also like the idea of no legs, as that's less to animate. And so I just kind of explore this idea of this no-legged, spiky guy that just moves left and right, and just trying to figure out like a good silhouette um, that would, I don't know, be interesting, but not. It would still be, I don't know, still communicate what it is and not be super jarring to look at, and that is also still believable in the world. So it kind of pushed this more cartoony, and I don't know about cartoony, but like simple, these simple kind of bold shapes. So like this slug is just basically a teardrop. Um, and I end up really liking this guy. He's just a slug. He meets all the requirements. No feet, easy to animate. He's got the weird spikes. Um, and yeah, now I'm just playing with different colors. I can get caught up in trying to make a silhouette that looks good and forget that, oh yeah, like patterns are another thing to play with. So I could, maybe I have, a pretty simple silhouette. I can spice it up with some patterns. And also the pattern can help, ground it in the world, depending on what it looks like. Depending on like does that pattern feel believable in that environment? And then I end up getting back on this for the jumping guy. I go back on this kind of jumping leapy bird who just jumps up, gives you a couple of scratches, and that idea feels good. Like I like there's something about that I like. And then this guy is a little cutie that we'll probably make a different entire game based around him and a buddy just going across the land being cool. So I end up on this bird where on the right that's what he looks like when he's attacking, and then right here is when he's kind of between jumps. But then I realize, or I remember that like there's big birds already in the world that Ryan's gonna come across, and I don't want to overbird it. I feel like uh, maybe trying to think of a pun using the word burden, but I ultimately don't like the bird. Okay, that's how that ends. And so I'm like, okay, I go back to like what else would jump, and I go for a frog, and it's like, okay, I just got to get those frog ideas out of my head, and uh, then I come across this sort of like kangaroo. When I say come across, I just guess I mean I had this idea. My brain came across its own idea as a sort of like kangaroo looking thing, kangaroo rat, which I think is headed in the right direction. I just need to, I want to push it a little more. Like, how do we meet this sort of like bunny or kangaroo, but then push it to like a believable, still interesting place? So I start playing with having like foliage appendages, so it looks like it camouflages more in with the environment. But that's something I'll need to keep pushing. I don't want to spend too much more time working on this design. I want to start animating this week. So look forward to that in the next update. I'll see you next time.